Hi, Felicia. Hi, Kim. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining. This will not be long. I put up I hung up my latest medal that I earned. Hey, I earned up my latest medal that I earned this past Saturday. Actually, 2 Saturdays ago when I was in Chicago, I did a race there, and it was a 10K. And hey, Kim. And it was relevant to this particular subject because the person that I interviewed on my podcast today is someone that I met. She's a running buddy of mine, and she's someone that I met because we both love to run. The thing is, when we're running with each other, and when you're a runner, when you're friends with people, or you're in a running group, you don't always know who the person is beside you. Who is the woman running beside you? What is she about? What is her story? What does she do? This particular person happens to be a coach. And as of last year, she's the first lady of a church. And she's just a very accomplished person. But when you look at her on the surface, you see a very accomplished person. You see a beautiful person, but you have no idea what her story is. You see the after, but you're not really knowing much about the before. My guest today on my podcast, and thank you for inviting your followers. My guest today on my podcast, her name is Cledra Gross. She just got married last year, and so now she is a pastor's wife, but she's also a coach. She's my running buddy. She's my friend, and she's got a great story. She talks about how she had to rewrite her story. Yes, she does. She had to rewrite her story. It's also the name of her book because there are things that happen in her life, like most of us, and there's certain times where we think that we should be doing something in a certain way or by a certain time frame or a certain deadline, but we haven't. Yes, Cledra is powerful. And so it was almost like when I was interviewing her, which you can hear on the podcast, it's almost like she was preaching to me. I was watching her via Skype, but I was just like, wow, this woman is amazing. And so I always want to apply this to you guys. I know my desk is messy. I know. I want to make sure I can apply this to you guys because I'm always fascinated by people's stories, but I also want to make sure that when I leave the place or when I get done hearing what someone has said, that I can apply something to my own life. Because most of us, when we speak or when we're doing our business, we're going about our day and we tell our story, we share ourselves with someone, it's because we want to encourage them. It's because we want to say, listen, I feel you. I know what you've been going through. Hi, Tanya. I saw you join. And there's a reason for it. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So Cledra has this really interesting acronym for shame. She says that S.H.A.M.E stands for should have already mastered everything. Should have already mastered everything. And that's the syndrome she calls the shame syndrome that she uses when we talk about male or female. We talk about, okay, I'm at this certain place in my life. I'm at this certain age. Hey, girl. And I thought that I would be in a certain place by now. Like, for instance, I'm 30, I'm 35, I'm 40. I should have been married by now, or I should have accomplished this goal, or I should have this business. Yes. It's like, no, not necessarily. It's good to have goals. It's good to pray and ask God for what you want. It's good to be ambitious about things you want in life, but we shouldn't get discouraged simply because we couldn't click the check mark off on something by a certain time. So she uses the acronym SHAME to mean should have already mastered everything. So I hear men talk about this all the time too. You know, they might feel some kind of way because they might be 35, 40, 45 years old and feel like, you know what? By now I should have my own house. I should have bought a house. Yes, Kim. Thank you. That's the acronym. I should have bought a house by now. I should be married by now. I should have done this by now. I should have finished school by now. Whatever the case, we feel like we're less than or we're ashamed in a way because we haven't done that. And so she talks about that. She talks about in this show, what do you do when you have a dream for your life and you have that shame that Kim just put up? You have that shame and then you are trying to figure out what to do when that dream seems to have been dashed, when that dream seems to not have been realized. So thank you guys for the hearts. And there's another topic that she talks about in here that's related to this. what does it mean to let go? I talk a lot about letting go in terms of letting go of anger, letting go of people that don't need to be in your life, especially toxic people that mean you no good. She has another aspect of that whole idea of letting go and what it really means. Because usually when I'm thinking about letting go of something or letting go of someone, I'm thinking about doing it, never thinking about it again. It's done. It's over with. Like if you're forgiving somebody, you think, okay, I'm going to forgive someone for something. It's going to be done, over with. Okay, not going to think about it anymore. And we all know that that's not real life. That's not the way our human feelings work. The way that our feelings work is that it takes time. And so you got to hear this episode to hear how she breaks down the way that we really should approach when we want to let go of something or let go of someone. And in terms of this particular topic, it's a dream, but it could be letting go of anything. So thank you, Kim, for putting that up again. She also talks about letting go of weights. She talks about dropping the weight, and she means it literally and figuratively because she used to be overweight. So she talks about that. Hi, Travis. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining. Even if I didn't catch you. Kendra, I saw you. I saw a couple of other people. She talks about the weight of self-loathing. She talks about the weights of comparisons to others. It's so easy, especially with social media. I mean, when we never had social media, when we never had the internet, we didn't know what anybody was doing. We didn't have reality TV back in the day. We didn't have any of this stuff. We didn't know what anybody was doing. We could, just go to the glossy magazines and music videos and maybe like have our imaginations and stuff. But now we see a whole lot. We see, I think, more than we should see. People share a lot. And so it's easy to look at other people's lives and not only say, I should have mastered everything already, but to also say, I should have done this because someone else is doing this. So there's somebody else that I've seen in social media. There's another friend of mine that I'm close with, and this is happening in her life, or this is happening for him. This person is climbing the corporate ladder, or their business is taking off and mine isn't. This person is married, and God knows I've been wanting to be married for like over a decade. Thank you, hon. And so it's like, why is it happening for them and it's not happening for me? And that's kind of a natural thing to think about, but it's sort of it's not quite the most productive, the most positive way to look at that. So I'm not going to condemn that feeling. I've had that feeling. Most human beings have ever had that feeling. But those are some of the things that we talk about in the show today. So if you want to check it out, my podcast is called Kickin' It with Daree. It's available on my website, dareeallen.com. And there's a link. If you go into my Twitter profile, you can go right to a link and you don't have to worry about typing it. It's also available on iTunes if you're an Apple person. It's available on Stitcher Radio. There's an app if you want to listen to it on there. And you can get the app on Google Play. So no matter what kind of device you have, or if you just want to hear it on your computer or whatever, you can listen, download, subscribe. I'd love to know what you think. Again, the show topic is called Rewriting Your Story, and letting go of every weight, laying aside the weight, as it says in scripture, just letting go of everything that holds you back. My guest is Cledra Gross, and I will, I basically post a new episode every Tuesday. So I've probably got 10 or so episodes now, and I'm kind of excited. I'm feeling accomplished. I mean, I'm not a household name, but I've heard that most people that launch a podcast don't even get to episode 6. So the fact that I can say that today I've published episode 10, I'm very proud of that, even if I don't have a zillion listeners yet. So I'm not going to have that shame about it. I'm just going to keep going forward. But I thank you for watching this video and for giving me hearts. I thank you for going on in advance for going on and listening to the show. And I'll talk to you again soon. All right. Have an awesome, awesome Tuesday.